Back, we are still sifting through the rubble to get information on the twin bomb blast that rocked the country on Tuesday this week. Stephen Mbida is now going to be engaging Brigadier Flavia Biekwaso, the UPDF spokesperson. Stephen Mbida, good morning. Take it away.
Yes, good morning to you, Romeo Busiko. Brigadier General Flavia Biekwaso is also the Minister of Defense spokesperson. And of course, now the nation needs to understand what's going on, what's the update. Since 2 nights, 2 days after the explosions that hit Kampala, I'm talking about the one at CPS and the one at the Parliament Avenue. Since she's the spokesperson of the UPDF and the Minister of Defense, she's in the know of what's happening. Good morning to you, Afandi.
Good morning.
The nation needs to get an update for you, the security, people in the security circles. What can you update them now, 2 days, 2 nights of the operations?
Of course, like we usually see, the investigations are going on around this whole saga. But in a short while, I think later on in the day, we are going to give a brief. So I invite everybody to wait. It's going to be in the late afternoon, around 1200 hours. We shall be giving the police who will be updating us on what is going on, the status of the events and what's going on.
But for now, someone who is watching you on Morning at 10 TV, what can you tell them as far as issues like maybe have you made any arrests? Have you got any leads to who would be the terrorists behind this, and maybe what was their motive?
No, but we already know, and we have already, I think, in the previous brief, we already intimated and talked about who these people are, who is behind them. So there is nothing new, or there is nothing more to that. These are terrorists who are linked to ADF terror group. They have sleeper cells within the country. So that is a group that has been around for some time. You know that when it was defeated some time back from Uganda, they ran into the jungles of Congo, and that is where they're staying up to now. But because they have built over time, they have built sleeper cells within the country. So from time to time they activate them, and that is how you see us having these kinds of events happening.
At this particular moment, are you able to know the motive of these guys? Because looking at the locations, at least going by the location, you see they are targeting security installations, they are targeting high-profile offices. One would expect maybe by now you have gotten some leads. What would be the motive of these guys?
Of course, the motive of ADF has, from its inception, its motive was to they thought that perhaps they would depose the government, they would take away the sitting government and be able to bring a government that would be, I think would be sympathetic or would use Sharia law. Yes, so that had been their earlier motive. Now, over time it is expanding. It is expanding, and now they're adding on, actually thinking that there's a possibility of having a fully-fledged Islamic State, So their motive is inclined on having an Islamic State, perhaps have Sharia law coming into the country. So their motive hasn't really changed a lot. It is only expanding around those acres, similar to Konyi, when he said that he wanted a country governed on the 10 Commandments.
Have you made any arrests so far?
From the other
suspected terrorists or those who have links with them?
This police spokesperson will give us those details in due course.
Some people, like yesterday, we saw some clerics coming out and say that whenever things like this, senseless acts like this happen, many people of the certain cleric, certain religion are targeted, and many people are arrested randomly from wherever. And they were saying that you need to do thorough investigations and not, at least for the
I think it's not true. I think it's not true. that certain religion is targeted. That is not true. The other thing that is not true is that we do random arrests. No. We usually when arrests are made, they're after some, like you're saying, some leads, some clues, some investigations. And that is why, because, you know, there's a lot of connections or contacts. Some people, definitely, it's true that some people are arrested and later on released. But the point is that you want to pick whoever this person has dealt with. Sometimes it's just out of someone knowing me and you gave me a call. But because we don't know at that point, we don't know the extent to which these guys are involved. Therefore, we pick all of them for preliminary investigations, and then we pick out, and we've been doing that, and that's true, we do it. So, and at the end of the day, we are able to sieve who is involved and who is not involved.
You know, some people have gone on social media claiming that these could not be suicide bombers, and others are even saying, going to the extent of saying that, how could you have known these people before? Because within minutes, you are able to release their names, their faces, and everything else that concerns them. And they are even questioning you. Is this putting the security, the intelligence at a test? How do you look at these people going on social media and also other media platforms, questioning the way you're doing the investigation so far?
That is people questioning, and that is their entitlement. They are entitled to their opinions, but they're not going to tell us how to do it. No, we have established way and mechanisms of how we do our intelligence, of how we gather our information, of how, because remember, even from the previous briefings, we said that we sometimes we pick leads. And then we hear that there is someone, we keep on monitoring. And that is why some people say that we just pick. We just don't pick. We keep on monitoring. That is why the names could be put. Because we keep on monitoring, but until you have picked enough, sometimes enough information. Yeah, sometimes you may told that Flavia is most likely this Flavia, because we begin by suspecting. You can look at someone and how they're moving and what they are doing, and you begin suspecting. You begin developing your suspicions. But until you have good evidence, hard evidence, you cannot, for example, make an arrest. But you keep on monitoring, you keep on watching movements until you say that, no, this one is not correct. And this can even take a year. You can follow someone without picking. If these people are also...
What would you tell the public about someone I heard that who was arrested from Kisoro on his way into Uganda? He is suspected to be a terrorist.
No. That is something that is still under investigation. It needs to be thoroughly investigated and examined to actually establish who this person is. But for now, we cannot put that person into these terror activities.
But you can confirm that certainly someone was arrested?
Yes, someone was arrested, but certainly it's not, we are not taking it lightly, because perhaps this is not a robber. Someone carrying 2 guns into a suitcase, crossing from one country into another country, someone of another country into another country with 2 guns. It's not a light thing, but we are examining it. We are investigating it and putting it under critical examination. We don't want to rush until this is part of the terror cells, no, but we are investigating.
We have porous borders, and you already know that many of these suspected terrorists are coming from, coming from ADF, and that is DRC, Eastern DRC. What have you since then, since Tuesday or even before, what have you been doing to ensure that, yes, these porous borders, either you strengthen security or you strengthen vigilancy and make sure that you stop this guy?
You have said it. You have said it. You're asking me a question in an answer. You're asking, but also giving yourself an answer, because you've said, yes, these are porous borders, and you know what porous borders mean. Yes. And it means these are borders that they are not fenced. We have historically, we have people living along borders, almost relatives from both sides. We have cross movements. Some people sometimes dig even the other side of the country, of the border. So, and you know that security cannot, we can't be, I wish we could be inch by inch, such that we know on every, but we man the borders. Of course, there is increased, we have always been with high vigilance along the borders. Security is always tight, but like you said, because of the porous nature of these borders and so many possibility of crossing points, it becomes hard, and that is how sometimes these people are able to slip through.
What is still holding you as security, as people in the armed forces, from crossing to Eastern DRC Congo, at least to go and look for these guys?
But this is a sovereign. You just don't go into another country. You just don't wake up and just say, now I'm going into another country.
Yes,
no?
I understand,
until, of course, there are mechanisms that this problem has to be solved. I'd also want to inform you that, of course, the presidents of both countries, they have all expressed wish, especially our president. But our president cannot do this alone. But the good thing is that the other president, from the other side, is allowing, is accepting that indeed there's a problem, and a problem which Congo cannot solve alone. This is a problem that actually is regional in nature. So there is that very big commitment and willingness to actually have this problem of Eastern DRC sorted. Because the problem is that this is an area that is inadequately, I can say that inadequately governed because of the vastness of Congo. And therefore you have this very large area now giving sanctuary and becoming a safe haven to a lot of armed groups, to a lot of terror groups. Therefore, it is now, the good thing is that the president of the other side has also now come, I think, on board to understand that indeed this problem is bigger and must be solved within the frameworks
of the region.
Last month,
a person known to be a terrorist blew himself in a bus, and this, on Tuesday also we saw others blowing themselves up, that being suicide bombing. What lessons have you picked as a security, or from then, from Tuesday and from last month? This is something that seems to be new. We've been used to guys placing bombs somewhere and then they leave, but now young people getting to suicide bombing. What is driving this, and what are you picking as security?
What is driving this is it's very unfortunate that as a country we have a youth that has been allowed to be manipulated and has allowed to be radicalized. Because like you're saying, these are young people. They're in their early 20s, maybe perhaps even late teens. So they have been, of course, with all the problems associated, like for some people are saying unemployment, some others are saying what, but I don't, in my opinion, it would not be enough for really someone accepting to be taken into this. But this goes into now, actually even, because to me the problem, you may think there is, but it is these people, the mature ones, that actually there is, I've forgotten the particular name that the president mentioned. And he was asking you, why don't you yourself, who is telling these boys, who is radicalizing them, who is indoctrinating them, who is manipulating them, why don't you do it yourself and go and blow up yourself? But why do you send these young men to be blown up? So it's a huge, I think it's a lesson to me, it's a lesson to the entire government sectors to work hand in hand. And this is not only a security matter, by the way. This is, to me, this is something that requires, it's macro-sectoral in nature, that it requires a lot of government effort, combined government effort. People who deal with youth, people who deal with, from gender, people who deal with the creation of jobs, sectors coming together and craft a way of how are they going to deal with the youth. There's so many youth that are not employed, but also the youth that are allowing to go into being radicalized.
As you sit here, I know here at Munyonyo, where we are the Speak Resort Munyonyo, you as the people from the Defense Forces interacting with the members of Parliament from the Defense Committee of Parliament. This comes at exactly 1 year after the 2020 November 18th mayhem that was in the city and many parts of the violence that we saw in Kampala, Wakiso, Mukono, Luwera, and other areas. And many people are saying that the security forces were overzealous in the way they were carrying out, trying to calm down and quell the demonstration that we saw spreading around the central region. What would you tell them? Are saying that we are overzealous?
That is, you know me, I always want to respect people's thoughts and people's opinions. We could have had, but on the other side, we could have had some excesses, yes. That one we cannot shy away from. But that was the moment. That was heat of the moment. You know, during that time, it was like, I may say, a war. When a war erupts, sometimes it may not be able, or it may not give you chance to sit down, for example, and do those very nice and precise and perfect plans. Sometimes. So to me, that was a moment of almost a war, because we saw a very big group of people almost wanting to burn the country. And these were spontaneous, like we said. It did not happen in only one part of the country, but it was all over. It was well orchestrated. It was something that had been well planned. So that is, I mean, in that moment, of course, errors were bound to happen, but we have apologized for whatever didn't go right. But we had to do that. We had to do it to make sure that the country is saved from being, from the chaos. Yes, from lawlessness.
So did you take you say that you took responsibility for the over 50 lives that we lost, or those who are injured?
But the president pronounced himself on this, and I don't need to go back to that.
So what would you tell the people who still insist that maybe these people need compensation from you, or security officers who were appointed at should take personal responsibility and be charged?
I would still tell you that the president already made pronouncements. He gave directives. I can't go back to what he said, and I can't go back to that.
Let's go back to the issue of ensuring security, tight security, ensuring vigilance at this particular time when we see this big challenge of dealing with terrorism. You as the security people, dealing with personal and property. What would you tell the people now that many people in Kampala, especially in urban places, seem to be not at ease with what is happening now because they still live in fear with what they've seen?
First and foremost, I would want to tell Ugandans not to remain calm. Of course, it's scaring when you hear a bomb going off, and sometimes when we are witnessing terrorism now taking another phase, because before, like you said, we used to have bombs being placed, but now we are seeing suicide bombers now coming, getting suicide bombers along the way, and this is really scaring. But I want to assure Ugandans that, first of all, and to advise them that, first of all, they should remain calm, and to rest assured that the security forces are doing, and we are doing whatever we can, and this is what we have been saying. We are doing whatever we can to really solve this problem. But like we are saying, this is a bigger problem. It is not only something that has it's something sometimes that is emanating from outside your country. You do not have control over the other side where you don't have authority, but we are doing what it takes to make sure Ugandans are safe. Now,
thank you.
Before that one, just to add a word, the war on terror can only be defeated by the population itself. Why? Because these terror guys sleep within us. They're like us. They do things that sometimes may be hard for you to tell. They are in our houses, they are in our circles, they are in our midst. Until we have become more vigilant, more keen to make sure that, but this person, there is a problem with this person, such that they give a report. And they should report anything that is a bit strange.
So suspicious. Thank you so much, Brigadier General Flavia Byekwaso, for your time. I've of course, for allowing us to take you out of a meeting that involves members of parliament, Minister of Defense officials, and other key security persons in this country, just trying to make sure that they strengthen our security and, of course, do much more for our personal and property safety. This is Stephen Imbido on FFS Chibuga. Thank you so much for being with us from 6:30. Romeo Busiku was with you until the time I came on. I will see you tomorrow.